This show is a proud member of the Blue Collar Roots Network and is created for professionals and people who know what they're doing already. The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the network or the sponsors. Do everything according to government regulations, OSHA safety practices, and manufacturer listing and labeling instructions. Not just because someone said so on a podcast. Now, on with the show.
You're listening to the Tool Pros Podcast. Depending on whether you grew up in the North or in the South, your opinion may be different on a lot of things. But if you're a tradesman, the one thing you can always agree on is tools are awesome. And now your hosts, Billy Noth and Brent Ridley.
Hello and welcome to the Tool Bros Podcast. This is episode number 16. This is a fantastic episode we got for you guys today. We have Sean with Fluke Industries on here with us today. We also have, like always, from across the internet, Billy Noth. How you doing, Billy?
I'm doing good, Brent. What's up, Sean?
How you guys doing this evening?
Doing great, Sean. Now, how do you say your last name?
So it's Sylvie.
Sean Silvey. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you coming on, taking the time. And I introduced the company that you represent as Fluke Industries. Is that correct? Or is it Fluke Corporation? How should we say that?
It's actually Fluke Corporation.
Fantastic. Well, like I say, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much, Sean. And can you start off by telling us a little bit about what you do for Fluke and how you represent them?
I'm a product specialist with Fluke. I basically help with any application or product questions that come our way. I handle a very wide variety of Fluke products, from their DMMs to their clamp meters. I also support the earth ground testers, insulation testers, which is really big right now. And then we've got a few products that are actually being introduced from the United Kingdom, which are a multifunction tester and a portable appliance tester. So I've got a really large family of products that I support. Ironically, in my years as an HVAC technician myself, as I got hired on with Fluke, my specialty in the tech support group was indoor air quality. So I'm fortunate to help that department, and I help with that product line as well.
It does sound like a very wide array of products there to know and to support. That's a big deal there. You said like a portable appliance tester. I'm just curious, what is that?
So in the United Kingdom and in overseas, they have every appliance should be tested for its grounding and its bonding and its insulation value. So as you know, every drill, every appliance should have a bonding and grounding effect to it. So if there's ever an internal short, it should go to ground. And so we actually have an appliance tester that you would plug it into it, and it energizes that appliance. And you can do an insulation test on the wiring, and then also a bonding check as well, just to make sure that it's grounded correctly. Now, in the United Kingdom, everything's got to be certified over there. We don't have those regulations here in the United States, but it's something definitely by code. It's a standard that they do there.
Sounds just like a megometer. Is that basically the same principle?
It is. As you know, a megometer, we call them insulation testers here at Fluke, but it basically is you're doing an insulation test on a de-energized line. You definitely don't want to have any energy to it. That portable appliance tester actually has the ability to energize that product. So it'll send 220 volts through the product and energize it. So it's quite an interesting tool.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, we haven't introduced that one yet over to the United States. One of them we have introduced, which I'm hoping to see, is a multifunction tester, where we have the ability to do loop and light impedance tests on a live line. And the United Kingdom and Germany and stuff, they have what's called RCDs. Now, we call them GFCIs here in the United States. Well, over there, they have an RCD or a GFCI that's set at a certain level. And this unit can actually trip that GFCI, and it'll tell you how many milliamps it tripped it and how fast it took, how many milliseconds. So we're introducing this product to the United States for residential commercial development, where you can take this unit into a new home and you can validate all the wiring in the house You determine if everything's bonded correctly. This thing will do an insulation check on the wires, and then we'll also do an RCD or GFCI test, because typically here, if we want to test a GFCI, we go over and click the button. It tripped it. Okay, great. But if you really truly plug a product in and it goes through that ground fault, how do we know that it really did trip what it was supposed to trip? So this is a product that will actually set it up at a 6 milliamp trip, and then typically they'll trip within 15 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds. It actually records that, and then you can get a report on that. So it's a very cool tool.
That really does sound cool. Like, that's stuff that I would never dream of. Like, I would never think about that was out there, even a possibility. But now that you say that, that makes absolute complete sense, because, yeah, like all we do is we go up, we push the little button on the GFI and okay, it tripped. Yeah, but without actually testing it, we don't know that it's working. And that's so cool that there is tools out there like that. See, I've learned so much here in the first 5 minutes of talking to you than I ever knew about meters and whatnot.
I'm really hoping that the home inspectors, your building inspectors, have the ability to use this type of tool to where we can actually go out and give a report on it as well. How many new homes do you get to where you get a report on your electrical wiring prior to occupying the home? Where here you have a nice set of papers that say every outlet tested correctly, the insulation values were good, everything was bonded incorrectly. When it went to ground, here's your ground results as well for your home. And it's just an amazing tool.
Yeah, that could be twofold for a contractor, like an electrical contractor. They could use that. Number one is insurance. They could say, okay, look, you had a problem, electrical issue in your house, some kind of electrical fire, but look, we tested it on X date and it was perfect. It was fine. Or they could even use it as like a maintenance tool. Say, okay, we can charge you X amount of dollars to come in every year and do this test on your house and give you a printout of a report. And that's a revenue generator for that company to help pay for that tool and to help keep the guys busy.
Heck yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Brent.
I look forward. We just introduced this unit last year to the Americas, and it's been in the United Kingdom and European markets for years. And again, it's all based on standards. Over there, the standards are driven to where you have to make these tests every year. Here in the United States, we don't have those standards yet. You know, everything we go is based on the NFPA and the 70, the NEC. So as long as we can get that built into the systems and get it more as a regular procedure, then you'll see it more.
Absolutely. I think that's great. Now, you had a new meter out there that's looked fantastic. I've been seeing all kind of stuff about it on the internet, all kind of cool stuff, little videos here and there about it. It's the T6. I guess it's the T6-1000.
That's right.
Can you tell me a little bit about that meter and give us some of the feature overviews and stuff of it?
So this meter is revolutionized the way we make voltage measurements. This is based on the T5. And if you've ever used or seen a T5 looks kind of like a stick meter with an open fork. We've taken that technology, or that form factor basically. We incorporated a new technology where we can do voltage readings and amperage readings all in one shot, basically without metallic connection to the wires. There's a nice little sweet saddle spot in the meter. You actually have to hold the meter a certain way to make the measurements. Now, do you guys know about the volt alerts, the little volt sticks? I'm sure everybody's had one. It's a little pin.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Sean. I've never really liked them. I never really wanted to rely on those very much. I always felt a lot safer and a lot more secure when you put your leads on the actual circuit and make sure it's dead at that point instead of using the little light up non-contact voltage tester.
That's right. Back in the old days, they called them widow sticks because you're right. Nobody could trust them. You know, the theory behind that is it's using conductance through your body to make a good ground. And if you've got your PPE on like you should, if you've got your thick, heavy gloves on when you're making voltage measurements, that little volt alert will never work correctly. And, you know, if you're on a ladder, you're not making good conductance to ground. You're not grounding yourself. Well, this T6 uses that same type of science, if you want to say, engineering science behind it. Basically, what you'll do is there's a little conductive pad on the back side of it. And with your bare hands, you can hold on to this and make a good conductance through your body. Put a single conductor into the open jaw, and you can make live voltage and amperage measurements. Now, what's going to happen when you have to have your PPE on? You have to have those leather gloves. You've got to have those thick leather boots on. So you would take your black test lead out, ground it to a known ground, and then from this point, you're now grounding the unit. This thing will make voltage measurements up to 3% accuracy. It's incredible.
Ever since I saw it, I thought it was fantastic. Like, I was just blown away by it. So you're saying there's just like a little bare spot on the back of the meter where you put your thumb over, your finger over. That's where it conducts the ground through your body. But then you just take the forks and you stick the wire in between the forks, meaning no leads necessary, no clamping necessary. You just stick the wire in between the fork, and you're telling me that we'll get an accurate reading within 3% of the correct reading. Is that what I'm getting at?
That's exactly right. The great thing about the meter is it's smart enough to where there's a green light that will come on. Basically, the LED on the screen will come on, and it'll tell you that it's making a measurement. And then there's also a high voltage, the little high voltage lightning bolt lamp that's red that'll come on as well. And you'll know you're making good measurements. So it definitely will tell you when it's making a measurement versus when you're not making a measurement.
You're saying you can do voltage and amperage simultaneously?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, this thing has the ability to measure up to 200 amps through the open jaw, and then you also can measure with the T6 1000, the 1000 meaning that you can go up to 1000 volts. Now again, we're talking AC. So we definitely want to make sure that's clear out there. You can't put this on a car battery post and get DC amperage off of it. So we just want to make sure that it's alternating current only. Now, if you do want to measure DC, you do have the ability to use the test leads and make your DC measurement using the traditional contact method.
I've seen the feature about the non-contact voltage testing on it. I'm not sure what you guys call it. Is there a name for the feature that you guys call that?
We do. So we have a trademark name called Field Sense.
We've seen the Field Sense. Now, what else does that meter have? Does the meter do ohms? Does it do capacitance? What else does the meter do?
It'll do ohms and continuity with your amperage. Now, the nice thing with the T6 1000, it has a dual display. So you can see the amperage and the voltage all in one display. Now we do offer another version of that called the T6 600, and that'll go up to 600 volts with 200 amps. And you will toggle with the display as well. You'll toggle through and see amperage or see voltage. Now the great thing that I do want to throw out there too is it measures hertz as well with the T6 1000. So you can talk to hertz.
So on the T6 600, you do not get the dual display. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Perfect. I'm excited, man. I've really been debating to buy one or not. I have several meters now. I've just been throwing it up in the air whether to buy one, but it just looks so cool. I really want to just buy it just to try it out because it looks so awesome.
I'm on that same boat with Brent. I've seen, little video snippets, and I mean, not like I need another meter, but I kind of need this meter.
Yeah, it's got cool and fun written all over it. I can tell you that.
Yes, it does.
Now, Sean, what are some of your other best-selling multimeters, or what is Fluke's best-selling digital multimeter?
So hands down, all around for every market. Now, we're not just talking HVAC. We could be industrial, commercial, you name it. For an electrician in general, probably the 87.5 is the most probably sought out meter. That meter itself is an all around, can go up to 1,000 volts AC DC. You can run 10 amps AC DC or through the meter itself. This thing will measure resistance, continuity. You can do milliamps through it, microamps through it. So you can do a flame rectifier and a flame sensor on a furnace. You can do a thermal pile if you were looking at doing this for any of your standalone units like your fireplaces. It's incredible, plus temperature. And on top of that, you can get down into the millivolt scale. It'll do capacitance. So hands down, that meter is probably our number one seller.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd do pretty much everything you need it to do just to check everything pretty much, just like a good general all-around meter. It sounds pretty nice.
It is. All around, and it really hits all levels of the different marketplaces. You can use it on an industrial level, a commercial level. You could use this meter if you were doing electronics. So it's really a great encompassing meter of different markets.
Hey guys, did you know that owning a combustion analyzer could help your HVAC business increase its revenue? Even better, during Bacharach's fall promotion, you can get a free reporting kit with the purchase of a FireRite Insight Plus. You'll be able to send test results and personalized data wirelessly to the included printer, allowing you to create hard copy reports which can function as business records or customer receipts, complete with your company's logo or coupon offer. Purchase a Bacharach Insight Plus at your local distributor today. And when you download the free rebate form at www.mybacharach.com/offers, enter the promo code TOOLPROS. That's TOOLPROS to let them know that you heard about it right here on the Tool Pros podcast. I know that you guys have came out with I don't know if I know the name of it correctly. You may have to correct me here. The Fluke Connect or something like that. It's the Bluetooth option for the meters. Is that correct?
That is, yeah. So Fluke has come up with a product called Fluke Connect. The great thing about the Fluke Connect is it has the ability to connect via Bluetooth to a smartphone, or you can connect it to a PC. The nice thing about these units, we originally designed it to where there's a meter. We have our 3000 FC meter. This meter links into Fluke Connect modules. And if you can imagine a digital multimeter, just like it says, it's a multimeter. It has the ability to have multiple functions. The modules are designed for a single function. So we have a volts AC module. We have a volts DC module. We have a temperature module. That's all these modules do is this one function. But the great thing about them is they have the ability to have internal memory. So now you can take a meter out and record with it for a week. Maybe you've got a troublesome compressor out there where you're wanting to make amperage measurements. You can take one of our amperage modules, hook it up, and let this thing literally record all weekend long. Take it back, download the data. You can download it right to your phone if you need to, and you can see when it happened, what the amperage was. These meters record 4 times a second, and you can literally set the interval up to record every second, getting basically 3 readings a second, a mid, a max, and an average.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's incredible. So with this, we've allowed a lot of our meters you're going to see as we move forward will have this FC feature. Either they'll do internal logging themselves, or you will use your smartphone and do the logging as well. So the meters can go 2 weeks, depending on your interval, that however you set the interval up. And then the phone itself, if you just just doing the recording on your phone, you can get up to 10 minutes.
I'm trying to wrap my head around how this works a little bit here. So I understand you have like the main meter, which is the Fluke 3000, but then you have the modules that do the amperage, and maybe one of them does voltage or whatever. Let's just say I wanted to just check the amperage on a piece of machinery for a week. So I clamp this module on there, leave it on there for a week. Then I come back. Do I have to have the Fluke 3000, or can I just use one of those modules and use that module directly to my telephone?
You can just directly use that module to your telephone. The great thing about the meter is it's a receiver for those modules. It actually has a Bluetooth receiver built into it. So imagine working on a furnace, but you're also working on maybe something that you want to know the amperage. And maybe you need to check the temperature of the heat coming off your heat exchanger. You can be looking at every one of these modules on your meter face while you're making voltage measurements. So you're actually going to see 3 different numbers on the 3000. You're going to see the temperature rise happening on the heat exchanger. You're going to see the amperage of the blower motor happening, and you're checking the voltage maybe on the inducer motor as well.
Is there a maximum amount of modules that you can have hooked to the 3000 at one time?
There is. So there's 3 module max on that, and then there's 9 for your phone. You can literally see 9 modules at one time on your phone.
Now, what's the range as far as the Bluetooth for the modules and, say, the phone or the modules and the meter itself?
So pretty much about 90 feet.
Typical Bluetooth. Bluetooth isn't really a long-range radio. It's relatively short range, but 90 feet isn't bad at all.
Yeah, and of course, obviously, with obstruction, you're going to lower that. But I think the key thing on those is the ability to have that recording ability. I can't tell you how many times I was working on somebody's house. Just a little background with myself. I've had 15 years of heating and air conditioning, just like yourselves. I was out there in the trenches doing the installs, doing the service. And my final years, I was the service manager managing about 20 guys. I couldn't tell you how many customers would tell me the temperature isn't working at this time of day, your furnace is not working correctly, and it would have been just great to be able to go out there and record all weekend long, leave the temperature probe there, and come back and download it and go, okay, yep, he was right. It isn't working correctly. Or, you know what? It is working correctly.
Absolutely. It's an invaluable tool. It really is. Any of your meters that have FC on the end, does that mean they come with the Fluke Connect?
That's right. So any of the meters that have FC either have their Bluetooth enabled, all of them will connect to the app, and then some of them, depending on the unit, will have internal memory.
So I got a 902 FC. For those of you guys who don't know, the 902 FC is like a clamp meter, and it's very HVAC based type clamp meter. I consider it like a very, very good HVAC meter. So if I get my 902 FC, I can hook that to my phone. Now, could I buy some of these little small modules and hook those to the equipment also, and then stream all that data to my phone at one time?
You could. That's exactly right.
All right. I like that a lot. I really do. That's really cool.
For everybody listening, the 902 FC is an absolutely sweet little meter. That meter I do have in my arsenal of many meters. It is one of the better, and I do like the app function and the layout of the app compared to a few of the others that are out in the field. There is a lot of, I believe, misinformation spread throughout social media as far as how the app works and cost of the app.
Okay, yeah, very good. So the app itself is free. Anybody can download the app. Anybody can use the app at any time. Definitely, let's get that clear. The app is free. There is a cost to a program associated with the app where we're starting to download. There's a trend going on right now where we want to collect data on an asset. A motor, a fan motor, a compressor. We call that an asset. It's an asset to your organization, to whatever it is. But say we want to do some yearly maintenance on that asset. Instead of writing down that stuff on a piece of paper, we can now digitally do that. We can save it into our program, and we can now send it to our computer. So really the software side of it that there's a charge to is the assets program part of it. But the Fluke Connect app is free.
When you say like the asset part of it, so you mean as in, is it like a reporting type feature that you're saying? Like if I were to do like a reporting feature, that is what costs additional? I'm trying to make heads or tails out of that.
That's exactly right. The reporting side of it, we basically have a cloud database that we've set up. You're going to get a cloud account anyway with your FC, but you don't really have the ability to assign these assets to it. And by purchasing the program, then you now have the ability to add several assets, to build upon each one of those assets. So the motor over here in building B, we can now go out and do thermal imaging shots of it, save those pictures, put it into the program. You can go out and do vibration measurements as well. Now you can take that motor, save that information, put it on the same asset. Now you basically have a database that you've collected all the information on that motor, that asset, at that given time. And now we can go out and do the same measurements a year later and see if there's any change. Hopefully not. Hopefully the motor's still working great. The vibration analysis is good. Again, it's another way to maintain and hopefully save money in the long run, because especially during a downtime, it costs a company a lot of money when a motor goes down prematurely. And if we can start monitoring that, which this is what it's designed for.
Yeah, so you're saying that the pay part of the app is for the cloud storage and the reporting, and that's on par with any of the other apps that you're going to use for what we do, as an HVAC or electrical, whatever. All the other apps are the same way, so it's no different.
Yeah.
If you can get that data from year to year on that motor and you can see the downward spiral on that motor and you can get that thing changed out before it fails, and you could save that customer buku amount of money and you look like the hero in the end.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I want to go back to the 902FC because I really like that meter. I had the Fluke 902, and I'll be honest with you, Sean, I changed from the Fluke 902 because of one feature. I heard they fixed it, but I don't know. That's why I'm coming to you about it here. The resistance, and it only went up to 9,999 ohms. Is the resistance value larger on the 902FC?
It is.
Okay, great.
You're exactly right. And that was through feedback from customers that we realized that the resistance value was way too low. It wasn't catching thermistor values. So we increased that to 60,000 ohms.
That's fantastic. Yeah, because that's exactly what it was. It was thermistors, things like that, mini split type equipment, things like that you would have to ohm out and measure your resistance on and to see if they were in range. And the regular 902 would fail to get in the range that it needed to. But now that the FC goes up to 60,000, everybody should be able to get within the range that they need to with that. That's a fantastic improvement. I love it.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the bigger improvements, and we made it more rugged. I know that the 902FC has a more durable ruggedness to it versus the other one.
My 902, I used it for 2 years, daily use, and it never missed a beat. It was a great meter.
Well, the key thing is with Fluke, you're going to give it to your kids, and chances are your kids are going to give it to their kids. So that's the nice thing about a Fluke meter is they'll last generational.
Okay, well, see, now that you mentioned that, like what kind of warranty policy does Fluke have? Do they have a standard warranty on all of their meters, or is there a different warranty for different types of meters?
There is a different warranty on different meters depending on what they are. Typically, the clamp meters will come with like a 3-year warranty. Some of the others are 1 year, and then like that 87.5 we talked about earlier, it's a limited lifetime warranty. If something internal happens to it, we will replace it for free.
You can't beat that as far as warranty on it.
Yeah.
If you look at the 87V or 87.5, it looks like it retails for roughly around $350, $400, but you get a lifetime warranty with that. You'd spend $100 more than some of the other models, and you get the lifetime warranty and you get much more features. It seems like kind of like a no-brainer kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Sean, do you have any other new products that you want to talk about or something new that may be coming out that you can tell us about?
Really, the T6 is probably the best one coming out on this level. With Fluke, we have such an array of different product lines, from thermal imaging to vibration, power quality. Something that when I was in the field, I never even looked at power quality, and it definitely needs to be addressed more from every level. I can't think of anything right offhand that's really coming out, finishing off the rest of this year.
I'm curious as to how long the Fluke 922 airflow meter / micromanometer has been out on the market.
That is a good question. I would say probably roughly 4 to 5 years.
Asking just because I had never seen one before, and a friend of mine actually just pulled one out of his tool bag today, and I was blown away by it.
Yeah, that's a great little tool. It definitely allows you to do your pressure measurements on your furnace.
He was using it for the gas valve. He was doing it for airflow.
Yeah.
It was perfect for everything we needed. It was a nice size, nice rugged little manometer that he was using.
Yeah, it definitely helps with your static pressure. I mean, that's one of the key ones. And if you get the PO tube with it, you get the kit, you can do air velocity measurements as well in your ductwork.
Yeah, my Baker Distributing, they had one sitting on the shelf actually for a while. I must have looked at that thing 4 or 5 times in there. One day I finally decided, all right, I'm going to buy this thing. So I ride back over there a couple of days later, and it's gone. Somebody had got it. They put it on discount. Somebody had got it, and it was gone. And at that point, I said, all right, I kind of let it be. I didn't go look for one on the internet or anything, but it was so tempting. It sat there on the shelves for weeks and weeks, and I looked at it every time I went in there.
Fluke does have a great variety of indoor air quality tools. I don't know if you know, we have a 971, which is a temperature humidity meter. Basically go in and do temperature and wet bulb measurements when you're doing your air conditioning balancing. It's a great tool to get in there and make temp and humidity measurements.
I did see like the 975V, I guess, or 975.5. It's like the air meter, indoor air quality meter.
It is.
What would you use that for? Does it tell you particulate in the air? Does it tell you VOCs? What would you get that for?
So the 975 is a great meter that it's going to measure carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. You're going to get relative humidity with it as well, and temperature all in one shot. So it's a great tool to walk around and do the envelope of your building. We never do enough CO2 measurements. Our world, we were always looking for the carbon monoxide killer. We want to make sure there's no carbon monoxide. But honestly, in a business envelope, and you get these large buildings, we need to be monitoring the CO2 as well. We need to see what's in the area. So it's a great frontline tool to be making those measurements. That tool also comes with a velocity probe that you can plug into it as well and get velocity measurements.
Oh, cool. That's pretty interesting. You can get velocity out of it too. That's a pretty good combination of things on one little meter there.
Yeah, it is. And that meter itself, even though it isn't an FC product, it still does data recording. So you can set and record different areas in a building, and then you can go back and report on that as well. You know, we're always looking for making sure the building isn't sick. If the building's sick, then the people inside it have the potential of getting sick. So we always want a healthy building. And that's one of those great tools that can help determine that.
We've been a little while now, guys. I think we've covered a good bit of topics. I know there's a plethora of Fluke products here that we could talk about. And if we didn't talk about your favorite today, just shoot us a message on Facebook or Instagram. Let us know what we didn't cover and let us know what you'd like us to talk about, because I'm sure we're going to try to get Sean back on again in the future, because this was such a good time. I really appreciate it. If you don't own any Fluke products, you need to go check it out. Go to fluke.com, see what they got. They really are the top dog when it comes to digital multimeters and just any kind of meter in general. They are the top of the line. We appreciate you listening so far to the end here. Give us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, all that good stuff. We thank you for listening. And Sean, thank you again for coming on. Thank you so very much.
Oh, thank you guys. You have a great day and have a good holiday. Merry Christmas to everybody out there.
Oh, yes, sir. Merry Christmas to you too.
Merry Christmas to you too, Sean.
Happy holidays. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Tool Pros Podcast. The best way to listen to this podcast is by using your smartphone or other web-connected device, and subscribing using the podcast app on Apple devices or the Stitcher app, or Google Store for Android devices. You can find all of the shows on the Blue Collar Roots Network by going to bluecollarroots.com. From all of us at Blue Collar Roots, thank you for listening.